So, Zack Snyder's Justice League is here. If you have it on HBO Max, you could watch it. If you're worried about it being 4 hours, most people are like, well, take a 2-hour intermission. Zack Snyder saved you the trouble. There are almost like chapters to this, almost like it's a book. So it'll come up part 1, part 2, part 3, so you can kind of decide when you want to take a break. And it's very helpful. People just keep asking me, did you like it? Did you like it? Was it good? Was it better than the Whedon version? And I'm like, man, there's so much depth to that question because there's so much to this movie. There's, what are you doing? No toys. Just stay on your tablet. I just need like 20 minutes.
But these headphones are tickling me.
Tickling you? Seriously? Where are these ones? Give me the tablet. Plug it in. Oh, no. Keep the charger in.
Okay, why does that have a charger?
This doesn't have a charger. That's a different kind of charger. That goes into a computer. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. So, there's way too much. No, I can't shoot them. There's way too much to go into it to just say whether I liked it or not, whether it was good or not.
No matter how nicely.
What is happening? What happened? Don't do that. Please. Ah! I'm off to the worst start this morning. Quiet. This is so hard. I woke up this morning feeling charged, and I had all my thoughts together, and I knew what I was going to say, but the more I try to record this, the more my thoughts just go right out the window. It's not your typical movie. It's a piece of art. It's a comic book film. It, like my friends say, it reads like a comic book. There's too much. There's too much detail. There's too much everything. Every scene gets like intensely focused. Every scene gets way too much. So you gotta, I don't know. If you could watch it in 4 hours, please let me know. Because I had to take breaks. I had to take 2 breaks. And then I had to sit outside for like at least 2 hours to de-steam my brain. So the Whedon version is now like the clean, happy-go-lucky version. It's very whimsical. And people didn't like the humor of the Whedon version, but I found there were pros and cons on both sides. There was humorous moments to this movie, and there was humorous moments in the Whedon version. I'm one of the few people that actually liked the Whedon version because it reminds me of the Bruce Timm Justice League from Cartoon Network. I just love these characters so much. I love seeing them come together. I don't really care what they're doing. And you could say that the other Justice League, Whedon's Justice League, has a Avengers feel to it because it's very light-hearted. It's not very dark, and Danny Elfman's score is even kind of upbeat and whimsical, and and keeps you kind of that Spider-Man 2 on the verge of darkness, but still kind of playful and fun. So this was not that. This is polar opposite of anything you've ever seen. This whole movie is depressing. I seriously need to go on some kind of antidepressants from this movie. Everything is just focused on the loss and the death of Superman. The world is without hope. The skies are dark and gray and cloudy all the time. You rarely see the sunshine. All the actors get so much more story than they had in Whedon's version, where everything was rushed to 2 hours. I think they could have made this movie 2.5 hours and left some of it in. I think there's a good balance between 2 hours and 4 hours, and somewhere in between there is the movie that really would be best at an entertainment value to where everyone could enjoy it. But unfortunately, unless you love these characters, you loved Man of Steel, you understood BVS the first time. If you didn't understand BVS the first time, I mean, why even attempt a 4-hour... This is BVS on steroids, guys. This is full Snyder. This is Watchmen. This is all the 300 movies combined. This is... I want to say it's a nightmare, and that accurately describes it, because they call the futuristic timeline we saw in BVS, Bruce's vision, they call that the nightmare vision or whatever. So this this is a waking nightmare of things to come, and that's not a spoiler, because we know that's another thing, is that if I had seen this first, like if I could erase the Whedon version, this would have been 10 times better, because I would have been going into it with an empty mind. I wouldn't know what's coming. I knew these lines when they were coming at me. I knew this movie. I know this movie so well from watching it so many times since 2017. I cannot rate this film on a standard 5-star system. Can't rate it on a 1 to 10 system. I think the Rotten Tomatoes was like a 78 with a fan critic of like 90 something. I think that's fairly accurate. It's just so hard, because how many movies out there are really 4 hours? I mean, it's like Titanic. Which I'll admit, Titanic's a great movie. I'm not knocking on it. But you can rate that movie overall. This has so many different parts and sections to it, and there's so much individual things that you can critique on. You can critique the humor. You can critique the CGI. You can't really critique the action, because the action was better than Joss Whedon's. I'll give it that. Come on. Go back. There we go. Good target on the humor, the action, the pace of the movie, the acting. You could do all of that. It did mess up Aquaman a lot, especially with the Aquaman movie. Amber Heard has a British accent. There's a lot of things he was trying to set up for. Not a lot of things, but you can see he was trying to set up for Aquaman. And then because this movie didn't see the light of day, they kind of had to push forward and do their own thing. So, whatever comes out first, Flashpoint or Aquaman 2, and especially I heard someone say they recast Amber Heard. I hadn't heard that yet. I'll have to double check on that. so I can't guarantee that for you. But yeah, this earned its R rating for sure. It is not for children at all. There wasn't a single scene that I was like, yeah, this is a superhero movie. It's polar opposite from any Avengers film that's been made. These are my favorite characters. No matter how much I love the Marvel Universe, DC will always be my home. I can't give it a personal rating yet because there were things I didn't like about it. Some of the humor didn't land. Some of the things were inappropriate. I'm kind of changing as a person, so some of the things just didn't land with me, and you may have a different opinion. Snyder toned down the heavy Jesus comparisons with Superman. There's only really one scene where he just kind of like flat out, and I mean every Superman movie pretty much does that at some point. I don't know why they feel the need to do that, but there's no post-credits scene. There's what he calls an epilogue, which is the ending of the movie. There's no post-credit scenes. You can stay for the music. The music is pretty nice. Junkie XL did a great job. Wonder Woman gets a new theme, which is just this kind of like ancient. It almost sounds Egyptian, but it's, you know, it's that just kind of like. It's just this, like, you could call it, Wonder Woman has like two themes. She has like soft theme and action theme, and I mean the themes almost play like almost too on the nose, to the point where it's just kind of like it's expected instead of like, oh yeah, here we go. It really is the like my friend says, it's a Superman trilogy, and this is the third one. It has definitely repaired the broken timeline of the Whedon version. I think you could leave Shazam. Well, no, because now Shazam doesn't line up either. So, I don't know what they're going to do, guys. What I can tell you, and this isn't a spoiler, is that Flashpoint is either going to fix all this, or it's going to take us in the direction, the new direction that they want to go. So, if we don't get any more Snyder movies, at least this answered all the questions that I had from BVS, and it showed what he was building towards, but I still think he put too much too soon. Instead of building a franchise, he just kind of dumped all of his ideas into BVS, and then this was going to answer all those questions. So, I'm trying to think, man. This overwhelmed me on so many levels. There were so many music selection choices as far as songs go that were just total Snyder, but it wasn't like Watchmen or Sucker Punch. Or Sucker Punch has a great soundtrack. Even as dark of a movie as it is, it's got a great soundtrack. This does not have a good soundtrack. I mean, the songs were creepy, and they were just kind of on the nose to the point where I can hear what message you're trying to tell me, but why are you telling me through song? Like, I don't know, man. There's just so much to this. Don't let your kids watch it. If you want to know what happens after Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman, this ties all that together in a nice, neat bow. It does set up for future Zack Snyder movies. He seems to be really passionate about it. I think there's no reason that they can't do two separate universes or timelines, they could call them, with the Flash using time travel. There's no reason why we can't have the Snyder version as one timeline and the Whedon version as another timeline. There's no reason. Let me say, for any of you that are Superman fans, Darkseid is ultimately disappointing in this. Disappointing. And let me just say, I'm thankful for Snyder for including him. And I like the Steppenwolf story, but I think with all of this you put into it, yeah, I guess I could see how you would set up Darkseid as the next chapter. But, me, I just want Darkseid now. Like, I want him now. I don't want him in the future. I don't want to tease at him. I don't want to see him standing in the background. Like, I want full-on Darkseid battle. I want that. Like, I need that in my life. And you get a little taste of him with the ancient times battle with the Greek gods, and you get a little taste of early days Darkseid, I guess. It's a nice way of introducing him as a conqueror. And I like that Darkseid came to Earth and not Steppenwolf. That was much cooler because it makes much more sense. That's a fantastic scene. There's, like I said, there's so much in this movie that is better and makes so much sense. And then there's other stuff that Snyder puts in personally, and Snyder and I don't always agree on everything. Since BVS, we don't see eye to eye. If you heard Snyder releasing stuff, like little tidbits on his I can't think of the name of his fan site. It's not a fan site. It's like a social media site like Twitter, but it's not Twitter. He was releasing a bunch of stuff from this movie before it was made, so I knew most of these scenes and recognized them because I read about it. I read about all the extra stuff that was supposed to be in there. Him saying Cyborg is the heart of the film, yes. It's like half Cyborg, half Superman. But ultimately, the story revolves around Cyborg, which does make it a better movie. I laughed. I teared up only one time, but that's because I'm on mood enhancers, so I'm not as overly emotional as I used to be. I don't know, man. I want to say give it a 90%. Percentile is like the only thing I can rack my brain around, because I don't want to give it a 4 out of 5. I don't want to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I don't want to give it a 9 out of 10. And I know they're all basically the same, but it's weighted on such a unique scale, whether I liked it or not. There's so many pros and cons. It's too much. It's not simple. That's why I have to do it this way, so I can just free flow and be live, because I can't upload a 30-minute video to YouTube, but I can go live for 30 minutes and talk about it. Yeah, man. I want to hear from you guys. If you did watch it or you're interested in watching it, I want to hear from you. I'm trying to get a group chat going so we can all talk about it. The Nerd Multiverse is the group that I run on Facebook. It's public. We post a lot of memes and try to do fun stuff. I was disappointed with the look of the black suit Superman, and I was saying it, I was trying to record earlier. I love The Death and Return of Superman. It's one of my favorite books, because it has such historical value to Superman as a character. In comic book history, it's one of the biggest moments to this day in comic book history. Superman was the first superhero really to become like globally popular. So his death affected the whole world, not just the nation. And Snyder takes that a bit far here, but the black suit, the silver was kind of dull, and I expected the silver to really pop off the S, and it did not pop. And the black cape was hard to look at, because the comic book didn't have a black cape. I think it would have been cooler without the cape. Also, it would have been cooler, I don't know. I really don't know. He's using this kind of, like, almost like the Arrowverse used the black suit as kind of the evil, not the alternate, what was it, it was the John Deegan guy was messing with the Book of Destiny or whatever, that made himself like an evil Superman. So they're using this as kind of like, as a symbol, rather, of hope. This is a symbol of the new darkness that's coming, and I don't understand. I didn't understand there's the aspect of Superman's return that's different from the Whedon version, and I didn't understand where he was going with that. I don't know, man. There is an episode in Superman the Animated Series where Darkseid and Granny Goodness get a hold of Superman and they brainwash him, and then Superman returns to Earth as like Darkseid's like head warrior or disciple or whatever it is, and like Superman is waving the Darkseid banner and he just destroys Earth. So we thought we were getting an Injustice storyline. And Injustice, the video game, I guess Joker's the one that killed Lois. It's not entirely clear. Oh, maybe it is. Maybe, I don't know, because I heard something last night. I see, it's still giving me a headache. This movie's still giving me a headache. Yeah, don't let your kids watch it. Make sure you're fully rested before you watch it. And for those people that were barely interested in the other ones, don't even bother. Like, if you already watched the Whedon version, you're good. Just leave it at that. I'm going to leave the Whedon version for my kids to watch, because it is a safe, clean movie. And this one is not. This one earns the rated R rating. It's way worse than BVS as far as violence and blood and cursing and all that sort of thing. Happy to see Willem Dafoe as Volko? Yeah. happy to see that. That was something I read about. Happy to see a lot of the parts I was looking forward to. Jim Gordon's part just got complete, like, he had his one little part and he was done. I mean, Whedon gave him a little more lines, a lot more humor. Again, I'm one of the few people that I enjoy the Whedon version. There's a lot of good stuff in it. Yes, you can. The mustache on Cavill was hard to watch. The CGI is terrible, and now I understand why Superman's suit looks so weird and the S looks so shiny. It almost looks silver. It's because they didn't fully cover it in red, so part of that silver was like shining through. I was like, why is his S so different? Now I know. There's so many questions are answered now. I can finally be at peace. The Batman's supposed to be coming this year. Looking forward to that. That's obviously going to be another alternate Paraline. Parallel universe. Sorry, not Paraline. I'm thinking in alternate timelines still. Shazam 2 was confirmed. I'm not quite sure the release date. It's probably about 2 years away once they get filming. I am happy I got to see this. I'm happy I got to see this because the rumors were getting to be overwhelming of like, oh, we should have seen this and we should have seen that, and rather than just listening to Zack Snyder talk about what he wanted to do, it is good that we got to actually see what he wanted to do. So much of it makes sense now. The trilogy is complete, even if we don't get any more movies. I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point. You have any questions, post them below. I will refer you to New Rockstars on YouTube if you want the ending explained, because I needed the ending explained. Excuse me. So, New Rockstars already has a video out. Eric Voss is incredible. I want to thank you guys for watching, and have a nice weekend. Have a great day. Take care.